Let's jump into some A-League transfer news. Some big talk around Macarthur, the Melbourne City winger, the Socceroo player, linked with a move to Celtic. Plenty of Aussies playing over there at the moment. According to the Daily Record, Scottish Daily Mail, Scottish papers are suggesting that the Socceroo could be set to sign for Celtic, which would be fantastic. A really, really exciting move for Macarthur. For me, one of the most exciting players that Australia have right now. He's almost underrated. The skill that he has, dribbling ability, I think is up there as one of the best in Australia right now, and has a massive future, massive potential. He could be, a starting Socceroos winger for many years to come if he does fulfill that potential, and it's an exciting move for Tilio if it does work out. Joel King has returned to Sydney FC on a permanent basis. Of course, King won championships with Sydney FC a number of years ago now, returned on loan for the second half of last season, has now returned on a permanent basis, and follows a similar pattern that we've seen in recent years of players returning, relatively young players, returning to the A-League after it not quite working out overseas. When you think of in recent years, Samuel Silveira, Daniel Arzani, even Daniel De Silva, I guess a few years ago as well, you can put in that category. Joel King choosing to move back to Sydney FC on a permanent basis. Going to be interesting to see what happens with Diego Caballo heading into next season. We saw them both sort of playing at times together, whether, one of them was playing a bit further up left wing and one of them at left back. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Jack Clisby and Dylan Parias have joined Western Sydney Wanderers, both on 2-year deals. Clisby returning to the Wanderers, bit of a surprise one. Dylan Parias linking up with his former head coach at Western United, Michael Rodan. This sounds like Michael Rodan's really excited to be working with Dylan Parias again, and a fantastic player. Parias, for me, one of the more underrated players in the competition. I think it's a good signing. I think, with the way Wanderers are playing at the moment, I think they will be successful again next season. Someone like Dylan Parias, coming off the bench, I don't expect for him to be the starting striker, but coming off the bench, the way that he can impact the game with his pace and his versatility as well, whether he plays out wide or through the middle, he'll be a dangerous weapon for Western Sydney Wanderers. Matt Yearman has joined Macarthur FC, former Newcastle Jets captain. This feels like a very safe move. They're going to need some defensive solidity heading into next season, Macarthur FC, obviously picking up the wooden spoon last season. And Matt Yearman on his day is a really solid A-League level defender. And speaking of his former club, Newcastle Jets, they have re-signed Costa Grossos and Jason Hoffman, an A-League veteran continuing on for another season. Let's talk about Melbourne City. There's been a lot of talk about the reigning premiers, who of course crashed out in the grand final and have seen plenty of departures over the past month. They've completed a triple signing of Alessandro Lapane from Western Sydney Wanderers, Patrick Beach, who was playing his football at Central Coast Mariners, and Zane Schreiber, who was from the Sydney FC Academy. Some promising signings. On top of that, Melbourne City have also re-signed Emin Jurakovic and Arion Soleimani, some youngsters who are already at the club. Just shows maybe that City are looking to maybe take a bit more of a youthful approach. I mean, I'm sure they will sign plenty of experienced players from overseas, as they always like to do, Melbourne City, but I think it's a good move for them. I think especially after that really rattling grand final performance and result, it was clear that they need to maybe tweak things just a little bit. Some more news here and there. Lockie Bayliss has departed Central Coast Mariners. Bayliss didn't make an appearance for the senior A-League team, but some promising performances in the academy side for the Mariners. There's 3 clubs that have still yet to sign a new player for in this off-season. The first one's Adelaide United. Not too much of a surprise. They haven't really had any departures aside from one day who's departed the club, so they didn't need to change too much. But the two other clubs that haven't signed any new players yet, Brisbane Roar and Melbourne Victory, which I think if you're a Roar and a Victory fan, I think you'd be going to be concerned about your club and the way they're looking moving forward. Look, of course, there's plenty of time to sign players, but and look, I'm sure they're taking their time. Ross Aloisi now, the new coach of Brisbane Roar, I'm sure working hard as we speak, recruiting players, scouting players to bring into the side. Similar situation at Melbourne Victory. They've lost some personnel over the off season already, and they're going to need to make some signings. Tony Popovich really has to turn things around there at Melbourne Victory. Guys, make sure you're following Coast Watch Football to keep up to date to all the latest news. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Lockie. This is Coast Watch Football. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.